We'd like to introduce to you Mark and Winifred, affectionately known as Little Mac. Who gives this woman to be married to this man? Marriage is one of Jehovah God's provision for the lasting benefit and happiness of his earthly children. Our first perfect human father, Adam, had need of a helper and a complement to fulfill God's commission to fill the earth and subdue it. God brought the first couple together, and if you follow in the book of Genesis, the second chapter, verses 21 and 22, we see that there are two firsts there. The first, painless surgery, and the first, marriage. See how Jehovah did that. It says, "And Jehovah God had a deep sleep fall upon the man, and while he was sleeping, he took one of his ribs, and they closed up the flesh over its place. And Jehovah God proceeded to build the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and bring her to the man. Then the man said, This is at last, bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one will be called woman, because from man this one was taken." This provision was also to be permanent. A permanent means if we go to verse 24, it shows us. That's why a man will leave his father and his mother, and he must stick to his wife, and they must become one flesh. How can you make your marriage last in love and happiness as Jehovah God originally intended? In getting to know both of you, I found out that you both have many talents. And for example, suppose you decide to build a house. Even though you have many talents, you would still need to have what's called a blueprint or a drawing and follow building codes to build that house. And so for building your marriage, we have to follow Jehovah God's advice. And then our marriage can be not just a twofold cord, which is strong, but as Ecclesiastes, the fourth chapter, says it will be a threefold cord that cannot be easily torn in two. Also, a building to stand the test of time needs maintenance. And so in building your marriage together, there's maintenance. And what does that entail? It entails studying the Bible together, praying together, and worshiping together. And this will keep your marriage strong. Now for Mark, a husband who gained deep respect. Man was appointed by God as a loving family head. The headship involves using sound judgment based on the Bible and taking a lead in a loving, kind way, not a tyrannical way. It includes supplying material, spiritual, emotional, and recreational needs of the family. Husbands are to follow the example of Christ, and that example is listed in the book of Ephesians, the 5th chapter, starting in verse 25 through 29. Husbands, continue loving your wives, just as Christ also loved the congregation and delivered up himself for it, that he might sanctify it, cleansing it with the bath of water by means of the word. And then going on to 28 and 29. In this way, husbands ought to be loving your wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no man ever hated his own flesh, but he feeds and cherishes it, as Christ also does the congregation. Jesus was willing to give his life for the congregation, and he unselfishly put the interests of others first. He was mild-tempered, a source of refreshment. Now, for the wife, Winifred. A wife who is dearly loved. The Bible shows that the wife's Christian husband is also a sign of her honor. She is a complement, not a slave, not an inferior person, but her recognition of the headship principle promotes marital success. And for that principle, we look at the same chapter, Ephesians 5, in verses 22 to 24. Let wives be in subjection to their husbands as to the Lord, because a husband is head of his wife, as the Christ also is head of the congregation, he being a Savior of this body. In fact, as the congregation is in subjection to the Christ, so let wives also be to their husbands in everything. So, this is a relative subjection, and it is for our good. A wife's deep respect is shown by cooperation with him, not competition. When he errs, would not belittle, but be understanding, and would look to him for decisions and work to help them succeed. Now, for both of you, as far as cultivating a deep love in your marriage, as you come to this wedding today, you're in fine apparel. And notice the apparel that the Bible tells us to put on, as it were. And this is the book of Colossians, the 3rd chapter, verses 12 through 14. And it says, accordingly, as God's chosen ones holy in love, clothe yourselves with these qualities: tender affections of compassion, kindness, lowliness of mind, mildness, and long-suffering. Continue putting up with one another and forgiving one another freely. If anyone has a cause for complaint against another, even as Jehovah freely forgave you, so do you also. But besides all these things, clothe yourselves with love, for it is a perfect bond of union. So, for marriage to be honorable in God's sight, we both would want to look for ways to show love to your mate every day. Set some time aside to talk together each day. Really listen to each other. Make it a habit to show kindness in even little things, such as like tender words and actions. Doing this, as you clothe yourself with love, will strengthen your marriage, because the Bible says, love never fails. Now we're going to have the marriage vows. And the first one is for Mark. And Mark, take you, Winifred, to be my wedded wife, to love and to cherish, in accordance with the divine law, as set forth in the Holy Scriptures, for Christian husbands, for as long as we both shall live together on earth, according to God's marital arrangement. Next, for the bride, I, Winifred, take you, Mark, to be my wedded husband, to love and to cherish, and deeply respect, in accordance with the divine law, as set forth in the Holy Scriptures, for Christian wives, for as long as we both shall live together on earth, according to God's marital arrangement. Now the rings may be exchanged. These rings are a outward and visible sign, signifying to all the uniting of this man and woman in the bonds of matrimony may place. Is there one for Mark? So, for as much as Mark and Winifred have covenanted before Jehovah God and these witnesses to accept each other in wedlock, I, as an ordained minister, and by the authority conferred upon me by the Holy Scriptures and the state of Texas, pronounce that they are husband and wife together. What God has yoked together, let no man put apart. You may now kiss your wife. Jehovah God, we come before you to ask for your blessing to be with Mark and Winifred on their building and their marriage together. May you continue to give them advice and guidance as they look to you for the decisions they make in the near future and on into eternity. May your blessing be with us, assembly this evening as well, and the interchange of encouragement at this wonderful event of their marriage. We'd like to ask this present, to ask you for your son's name, Christ Jesus. It's my happy pleasure to introduce to this marriage gathering brother and sister Hooter.
All right. How's everything?
I can't complain.
Good. It's good to be here.
I'm coming to get my scissors.